Hey guys, this is T again with another T's Model Build Along video series video. I gotta work on my speech. It's been too long since I recorded. And I was recording earlier, but thanks to my internet device failing at the slightest touch, I'm having to do this all over again. In the process, I came up with a few titles. Probably T's Model Build Along. The only one I can remember is the Enterprise Assembly story. And, well, I'll tell a story. So, I think it might have been like a couple of years ago, I was looking in the Historic Aviation catalog. And, in the very back, it's like a science fiction stuff. I see the kit for this Enterprise model. And I'm like, wow, it actually includes something from Star Trek. And so it kind of sat there in my mind. And then I think it was just like a couple months ago, I was looking at it. It's like, huh, sweet, it's in there again. Because I think it'd been like absent for like who knows how many months. Well, issues, because they do it by season. How many issues it had been missing from. And so I'm like, I'm getting it before it goes again. And so it came within about 2 weeks, because they only shipped on weekdays and non-holidays. So I'm just like, I can't wait for it to get here. I'm sitting over at my dad's, and I asked my mother if she could take a picture of the box while I was waiting for it. And she said yes. And I finally got the picture when it came. Da-da-da. And I made a video telling you about the Enterprise when I ordered it, and I showed you where you could get it and how to get there. I'll have to look up the title, and then I'll put in an annotation at the end of the video on its item number, so you can just look up the item number, and then it'll take you right there, and you can just order it. If you choose standard shipping, it'll be an extra $10 to ship, $100 if you order it from Historic Aviation, and this has actually been a $200 project, but I'll get to that shortly. Basically, I posted that video. You can look back on it. It was one of my first model build along videos. And then I made my unboxing video, and of course I was amazed at the size of this, especially with the saucer, which is like the size of a small trash can lid. It's like, here's my hand. It probably can't see it right from that angle, but here's my hand. If you look, just look at it, and the cells themselves stretch from the length of my ring finger down to my elbow. That is how long they are. And of course, probably due to the effect of the webcam that I have to use now, it can look very long. I say they're about like 1.5 feet long. And this model, when you assemble it, is supposed to be like an inch shy of a yard, 36 inches. And a few, yeah, it'd be like about 4 inches shy of a meter. So let's see, metric too, because I want to do it for the convenience of around the world viewers. Let's see. I'd have to look at a meter stick in order to do it. But anyway, it is long. It is big. like the I can't even get my hand around this. I can only get it halfway around. And yeah. When it came, I started looking at some YouTube videos, and some people with their enterprises up. So that kind of got me thinking, never done this before, but I think I might try it. And so then I started looking for electronic stuff, and I was starting, my first thought was, using LEDs, because those would be plenty bright, but what size and how it's going to prevent light leaks. But then my grandfather came up with the issue of Micromark catalog. If I can find it in here, they're called grain of rice bulbs. There's other bulbs in here too, otherwise known as grain of wheat. They're basically miniature bulbs they can use in small models, and use them as headlights in certain vehicle models and locomotives. I might be at the beginning of this issue, if I can find them. So anyway, I had to order 2 packs of them because obviously 10 of these clear grain of rice balls was not going to be enough, clearly. And at first I thought it was, but then it's no, I need more. So I ended up ordering $100 worth of these bulbs. Excuse me. One was multicolored, 10 amber, 10 green, 10 red, and 10 of these clear. And then one 40-pack of all clear. And I probably used up at least 30 clear ones. 30 of them. I'm still in tools for electronic stuff. Anyway, so that was another $100. So this ended up being a little over a $200 project. I'm still gonna have to spend more money on model putty. Go ahead and turn the lights on for you. There is a couple gaps at the pylons. I think you can see this one right here a little bit. So I need to fill those in, and yet I still need to spend a little bit more money on sandpaper because I forgot to bring the Dremel with me. I'll ask for it. So that way I can sand down one of these seams of the secondary hull because it protrudes out too far. And if I were to put putty on that and then sand it down, I'd just be shaving back down to the plastic. So it's going to be a little bit of labor. Still need to work on my speech. And no, I do not have a speech impediment. So I need to sand that down. This will be also the first time that I use a modeler's putty. Do I have any experience with it? Oh, another page. Wait a minute. Dang it. I gotta remember to keep moving that mouse. I think I was in here anyway. Well, whatever it was, don't know what it is now. And of course, I had also thought about using fiber optics. I put them in the windows, the round ones. And of course, they were each 12 inches long. And I was clearly going to need more than that. And so it was back to the grain of, and this was before the grain of rice bulbs were mentioned. So it was back to the grain of rice, so it was grain of rice bulbs that I ended up going with in the long run. And I think they worked out pretty well. One has a bridge floodlight, one has a bottom of the saucer floodlight. They do both work if you get the Enterprise in complete darkness. I have a couple pictures on my phone of it in complete darkness, which is awesome. Oh, I forgot about the index. Let me look in here. Let's see, lights, and magnifiers. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to look through, and then I'll put an annotation in the end of the video on what page in the specific issue it was. This is Michael Mark's, let's see, early winter 2011 issue. I know I've got another issue on my dad's, but yeah. So basically, we ordered them from Micromark, and they came within the same amount of time as probably the model. I think actually quicker. And so then I had to think about wiring. And of course, I wanted to use as small of wires as possible that could handle the current. And I figured a 26 gauge AWG wire could handle it, solid conductor. But when we went to Radio Shack, after my dad and I made a deal about that I'd help him out in the house and do a good job, he would take me there. The smallest size that they had was 22 AWG. And of course, when you kind of eyeball it, you really don't have your model with you, it looks like the best choice, so I went with it. And of course, my dad said I should have looked online. I think that probably would have been the better choice, but now I know for next time. But of course, still I got all this extra wire. There were like three 30-foot rolls of wire. And I've got one that I have not used. The ones that I used were the black and red. And of course, some of you might have used the green. But black is kind of like, I think it's like the universal hot or negative wire. And red would be the positive. Although I'm not sure about the polarity right now, but if it, especially with the flasher circuit, if it's correct, they'll flash. If it's not, they won't. So all I gotta do is just, I have to flip that switch on the transformer, which you cannot see right now, and then they would flash. Which I think was really cool. And the flasher circuit that I acquired came from my grandfather for model railroad crossing signals that was made for way back. Of course, I don't really want to pull it right now because wires are really short and the transformer's not in a good place. So I'll probably make a separate video. I gotta remember where I was, because you know how people have a tendency to go on tangents, stories that get way off track. So we bought the wire, and of course I need a little bit of practice soldering, so I got a smaller gauge piece of wire, which was probably about like a 2-foot piece, actually more like 1.5 feet, and I practiced soldering on that. So then I was ready. I was able to solder all this good, and I got all the assemblies together. The only thing that I really, oh god, I really need to practice. Maybe I should write a script and then just kind of follow the script. So anyway, I started watching YouTube videos, and it was basically they did the same thing as this. They did like a little model assembly series. They would show you what they did and what they were going to do, blah blah blah. One of them was spray painting the inside of the model to prevent light leaks. excuse me. But of course, with the secondary hull half assembled with the interior assemblies, I did brush paint it, and I used this white enamel and this very close to duck egg blue brushable paint, which with several coats of that duck egg blue, it worked out. The only thing that I did not paint here was the deflector dish, right? Because I just stuck the bulb through a little hole that was already there. Didn't think I would need to. And for the saucer, since I hadn't assembled it yet, I was able to spray paint that with this Fusion for Plastics metallic shimmer paint. And then I put a coat of this, apparently it's gloss, just noticed that, of the white enamel. And that was pretty effective, but there's a few light leaks here because the saucer can get kind of constricted and the bulb gets too close. So it's my first time doing a lit model. And for the wart nacelles, which are about 1.5 feet long, which is my ring finger down to my elbow, that's how long they are. They were lit up too, and so I thought that maybe if I use an absorbent layer instead of a reflective, because it didn't really seem to favor that. That did a really excellent job at blocking the light. I was impressed, especially since the lights were glued on the side that was painted black. I mean, that was just amazing. So they say to have it reflect back, but I might have first the absorbent layer painted and then have the reflective put down. So voila, it'll prevent light leaks pretty effectively. But back to the model. Wow, 17 minutes. This is going to be my longest video ever. And that's going to eat up a lot of usage. So anyway, I started putting the wires together. I got the secondary hull assembly lights in. Basically just had to slide them in because the top secondary hull wasn't on there yet. And I had the wires sticking out of the pylons here. So that way I could, and then I had the nacelle wires sticking out too, so that I could just solder them together, put the nacelle on, glue it, and then the wires would be well hidden. And it worked out. And then I put a little light inside of the neck. You can see that like leak there. I should have. I did spray paint the inside of the neck with a reflective color, but boy, I say it did not work too well. So I'll know for next time. And so then, with the bottom of the saucer system wasn't really kind of meant to be lit, I had to melt a hole, actually a couple holes in there, because there were separate circuits for the flashing lights and the always on lights. And I was able to work that out. And then, to get it on the stand, after I had it all wired and assembled and decaled, I should probably talk about decaling first. On the Aztecing, when I got this done, I decided to put on some of the Aztecing decals on the secondary hull, at least. I think. No. Oh, probably on the warp pylons. I did. On the warp pylons, I did. And then once I got the neck and the saucer attached, that's when I started doing more. And then the saucer ones, since they were really large, so and actually in the instructions said that maybe further beneficial to divide them into like a couple sections. They were right. of course, there's a couple wrinkles on the bottom because one of them I didn't divide when I should have done it. And then once I kind of found that out, it's like, alright, I'll follow the technique. So I started doing that, and from there it went really smoothly, except around these phaser banks. You gotta slice around those. And wow, 20 minutes. Long video. After all, it is a story. So I got all that done. The lights work, yada yada yada. My dad had get some stuff from Menards, so we decided we'd pick up my pipe for the display stand. It was approximately, it was very close, super close to 3/8 inch outer diameter. I got that to fit. Yay. I went to power on the lights. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to short circuit. Apparently I didn't know this before I went for broke. The bulbs, since they were allowed on one circuit, there was that much current that they needed that would create a spark, which would indicate a short circuit normally. They were drawing a lot of current. It takes a lot of power to power them up to that brightness. So once I found that out, and that it wasn't a short circuit inside the pipe, I was able to put it together, run them through a display base, and up to my power source. And then I got some of the marking decals on, because it was on a display stand now. And so it is officially Enterprise. I just gotta put a few finishing touches, decals, putty, and there's a edge right here. I can feel it. It's protruding out too far. So I gotta sand that down, and I would be doing it with a Dremel, but I forgot to ask my dad for it. If I could bring it back with me. I forgot to ask. And no, I did not get in trouble. I never asked, and I forgot to ask. I would have forgotten to... Okay, enough about that. I didn't bring it back. And so I'm going to have to get some sandpaper from Gregerson's. Probably like a 200 grit to get it down to what I need, and then probably like a 400 grit to fine sand it, and then put in a little bit of putty. There's only like a few places I need to do it. It's just on the secondary hull. And that's it. That is the Enterprise, that is T's Model Build Along video series, the Enterprise Assembly story video. If this bored you, I'm sorry, but this is my longest video ever. Wow. 23 minutes. Anyway, if you enjoyed it, hit that like button, and also if you think I should do another model, I might, regardless. Probably the Enterprise again, but the NCC 1701 version instead of the 1701A version. It'll turn out a little bit better, hopefully. Hit that like button, and if you think I should light it up, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to me. And I will see you in the next video. I'm just going to be quiet so that we have a little time to read annotations. See ya.